We watch these lawyers get on TV and say
it's like family. When we know they put secret mandatory quotas on their lawyers, that means your own lawyer pressures you into a premature, terrible result. Hi, I'm Mark Breyer.
And I'm Alexis Breyer. We're the husband and wife law team. We don't set settlement quotas. We measure success by achieving each client's best outcome and by each client's happiness.
Do your research after a serious injury. Call the husband and wife law team first.
Summer Playfest has arrived at Harris Auction Casino. This summer, win your share of $600,000 in prizes with Caesars Rewards. Plus, join us as live bands light up the stage all season long. Then stay and play for less with our buy one, get one half off hotel rates. So stay, play, and get rewarded all summer during Summer Playfest. Only at Harris Auction Casino. Play for all. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit the Caesars Reward Center for details.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona. Like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, deferred is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-TheEagle.com.
Your neighborhood Fry's Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at frysfood.com/payer update. See your Fry's Pharmacy for details.
How about we get some pizza?
Nah.
Sushi?
No.
I thought you didn't care.
I don't.
Slow cooked. Tender. Juicy.
How did they get in our car?
I don't know, but we're going to Del.
Del Taco's new slow-cooked pork carnitas. Authentic spices and salsa roja give it a rich, deep, melt-in-your-mouth flavor. Pork carnitas are here for a limited time, so get some tender, juicy Del Taco today.
Del, yeah.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get 50% off our best wash. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
We start the Monday edition of the lunch break finally with the answer we have been waiting for weeks. Because Kevin Durant is on his way to the Houston Rockets. Welcome into the Monday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. Producer Evan is behind the glass. He's taking your phone calls today, 480-864-1060. That's one way you can join us, weigh in on our big stories today. You've also got the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as another way for you to join the conversation today. But before you can join the conversation, I got to share my thoughts. Our daily special, you know what it is. Kevin Durant off to Houston.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Finally, the Suns can close this chapter. I guess if we want to be technical, they can't close this chapter until July 6th, when the deal can become official, when the new league year starts. But I'm not interested in technicalities here today on the show. The reality is the Phoenix Suns are going to trade Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. At least as we sit here today, they are going to get back Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th overall pick in this week's draft, and they are also going to receive 5 second-round picks. That's it. That's the deal. You all know this by now. It broke yesterday. It's been circulating around. Everyone has had a chance to formulate their opinion on whether they like or dislike the trade. I think there are 3 major takeaways from this deal. For me, 3 major takeaways, and that's where I want to start unpacking this piece of news, peeling back the layers to this onion, because there are many. There are many different angles for us to look at this. All of a sudden, the Phoenix Suns have a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. That is something we didn't have to talk about 2 weeks ago. Now we have the next 3 days to get you ready for the Phoenix Suns selecting inside the top 10 of the 2025 NBA draft. The three major takeaways for me. Takeaway number one, top line. This is a bad trade by the Phoenix Suns. It is a bad haul for Kevin Durant. It is a bad haul considering the player, the stature of somebody like Kevin Durant. It is a bad trade. Way less than what they gave up to get him in the first place. Way less than what they could have gotten for him at the trade deadline in February. Way less than they thought they were going to be able to get this summer when opening this up to all of the teams in the NBA to get involved. Top line takeaway number one, this is a bad trade for the Phoenix Suns. Now, let me make something incredibly clear, and we will probably unpack this as the week progresses here. It's just so many different layers. Can't get to it all here in just 1 2-hour show. This is one of those days I wish we had a third hour, a fourth hour with how many angles we have here. Just because it is a bad trade doesn't mean that the trade won't work out for the Phoenix Suns. Just wait, because takeaway number three points to this. Takeaway number two for me in this trade, I am left wondering, and I don't know if this is true, and we will never be able to get the answer to this, but I wonder if a more experienced general manager might have been able to do better, might have been able to just get that one extra piece thrown into the deal. I'm left wondering when I see the haul that was given back from Houston, I'm left wondering if a general manager who was not sitting in this chair for the first time, who has never had any front office experience before, if there was somebody different sitting in that chair navigating these waters, what to leak, what not to leak, what to say, what not to say in these talks, I wonder if a more experienced GM and an owner who's maybe a little less hands-on, if this deal could have been better. Now, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know for certain that a better, more experienced GM would have been able to get a better deal here. I don't know the answer to that question, but I am left wondering when you see the haul that was given back. And that leads to the third takeaway. All of this is going to center on the 10th overall pick. That's the way out. That's the way this trade becomes something that, yeah, in the moment we think it's bad. Yeah, in the moment we think it's a light return. Yeah, in the moment you're frustrated that the Suns put themselves in a situation where they couldn't get more for Kevin Durant. This is KD. This is a Hall of Famer. This is a top 15, 20 player in the history of the NBA. And this is all you could get for him. It changes, though, if you hit on the 10th overall pick. If the player that you pick at number 10 overall helps you dig out of this hole, if the player that you select at number 10 overall gives you a very important building piece around Devin Booker, then I think you can say the Suns did well here. Just because a trade is bad doesn't mean it can't work out for both sides. And I think the Phoenix Suns, everything about this trade is going to hinder on what they do with the 10th overall pick. The pressure on the player that they select with the 10th overall pick, completely unfair to whoever they select. Whoever they pick at number 10 overall is going to be, even though it was their pick in the first place, even though this was the Suns' original pick, this player is always going to be viewed as the Suns got this pick back for Kevin Durant. They valued this asset in a KD deal. They needed to get this pick back. They needed to get you. The pressure that is going to exist on the player that is selected with the 10th overall pick is going to be very large. So those are my three takeaways as we sit here the day after. 24 hours, plus or minus a few hours, after the trade gets done. Those are my three major takeaways. It's not a great trade. I wonder if a more experienced general manager could have done better. And boy, oh boy, you better hit on the 10th overall pick. Those are my three big takeaways from the trade itself. We'll talk about KD and his legacy. We'll talk about what happens next. We'll talk about the draft on Wednesday and what the Suns need to do with the 10th overall pick. We are going to unpack all of those layers as this show progresses. But top line, 30,000-foot view, bad trade. Could a more experienced general manager have done better? I am left wondering about the answer to that question. And yes, there is a world where the Suns got enough back to where I don't ask that question. If they got Jabari Smith and the 10th pick and Dylan Brooks and they had this big mega deal, I don't know if I would have said, man, could have a more experienced GM could have gotten a little bit more. I mean, we all understood the tough nature of these negotiations. We understood that the offers weren't very good. We understood that nobody was willing to go to that extra level. They weren't willing to go and add that sweetener. We understood that. We were talking about it all last week. Who would blink first? Would the Suns blink or would these other teams blink? I don't want to say the Suns blinked here, but certainly the other teams didn't blink and add in that little extra sweetener. So I am left wondering if a more experienced GM that could have played his cards a little better and maybe have changed the way the negotiations played out, could that sweetener have been thrown in? And then the third takeaway, the 10th overall pick, it's got to be a home run. And there's a trap that the Phoenix Suns cannot afford to fall into with that pick. But there they are. My three major takeaways now that we sit here knowing Kevin Durant is gone, he is getting traded to the Houston Rockets, and maybe if we wanted to add a fourth takeaway that probably should have been at the top, we can move on now. We can now move on and see what this team's going to look like with KD off of it. We can now start to see what this team, this organization, this franchise, this front office is able to put together with Kevin Durant out of the picture.
I texted you on Sunday right after this went down. It felt like we had talked all last week about desperation and what team's going to fall more desperate for Kevin Durant. And it just felt like desperation hit the Suns before it hit anybody else. And when that happens with an inexperienced GM, you get a return that you're not as happy with. And that's what happened here. Do I think the questions were always going to be asked of if it wasn't Brian Gregory, would they have gotten more? Yes. Do I think they're louder now than ever? Also, yes. So that question was probably going to be asked no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about this last week, and I attacked it from the perspective of if they got Jabari Smith in the 10th overall pick, I don't think I was going to be upset with Brian Gregory. If they got Dante DiVincenzo and a pick from Minnesota and another young player, I don't think I would have been upset. There was a realism that came over all of us, an understanding of we're not getting what was offered in February. The Suns were not going to get what they gave up or even close to what they gave up to get him in the first place. I think all of us understood that, but there was still a window for this team to do well, even though they weren't going to be able to check the boxes that they potentially could have checked in February, that they gave up to get him in the first place. And I don't know where this trade slots in. Do I think this is the best they could have done? Maybe. But maybe if Pat Riley is sitting there negotiating this, maybe if Bob Myers is sitting there negotiating this, if Danny Ainge, if Sam Presti, if any of these other GMs who we have seen wheel and deal, we have seen be able to orchestrate these big trades, I wonder if the deal could have had something else in it. Again, it was an unenviable situation that the Suns found themselves in. You made it known to the world in February that you were trading this guy. You made it known to everybody, we don't want him on our roster. You don't have a great negotiating structure in place. You don't have any real leverage when everybody knows that you are trading this guy. All those reports that started to leak of maybe they could hang on to him, but that now in hindsight, maybe was them trying to leak that out there to try to wrestle back some of the leverage in this trade. They never had it. They never had any leverage. They never had the upper hand in these negotiations. They were always dealing from the back foot. And so when you then add in that they had an inexperienced first-time GM in that spot, you're left wondering if they could have done better. But it is Jalen Green, it is Dylan Brooks, it is the 10th overall pick, and it is 5 second-rounders. That is the haul that either those players are going to help turn this around on the court, or their presence on the roster are going to give Brian Gregory more assets to flip, to try to get new assets, new players, to try to fix this, to try to dig out of this hole.
It's going to be interesting to see how they attack these next few days as well. And we'll talk about that later in the show. But what happens post Kevin Durant? And that's going to be an interesting conversation as well, because we've talked about them getting under the second apron in this deal, and
they still technically can get under the second apron by cutting some contracts, but no, this trade did not get them under the second apron. It didn't move them in that direction. I think technically they've added money to the books. Again, they still can get under the second apron by moving some pieces, some cutting some non-guaranteed contracts and declining some team options. There are two players in particular that I think give them $16 million, and that would get them under the second apron by a little bit. But yeah, that's the what's next. That's the what does this team do from here. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Eric over there says Jalen Green is a good young player with more athleticism than the Suns have had in years. Hopefully we can move Beal. That leads us directly into the tease, because Kevin Durant has been traded, or at least is going to be traded. And we know where he's going to be traded to. And we know what the Suns are going to get back for Kevin Durant when they can make this deal official. So now what? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The godfather of shock rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
On the farm, the day begins early, like before the rooster crows, when the sun is still struggling to rise. We're up, milking our cows, feeding them a well-balanced meal, and making sure none wandered off to see if the grass was greener someplace else. We work hard so you can start your day the right way. Real milk from farm to fridge in 48 hours. Arizona dairy farmers don't wait to have morning coffee before we get started, because we know you need milk for yours.
Dedication. It's undeniably dairy. A message from the Arizona milk producers.
Hi, I'm Andrew the Homebuyer. Selling your house right now the traditional way isn't so easy. The average home is taking months to sell. Fortunately, I can help. I'll come to your home and give you a cash offer within minutes. Then we can close in under 5 days. And I'll make sure you get as much money for your house as possible. Call me, Andrew the Homebuyer, today, and let's get your home sold. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com. That's andrewthehomebuyer.com.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report.
Hate to be redundant, but I have to reset something that I posted on X last night. Quote, every time the world leaves the Pacers for dead, the Pacers rise up and they stab the world in the heart. And they did it again last night, forcing a Game 7 Sunday in OKC. The fact that they did it should not surprise anybody at all at this point. What is surprising is that no one told OKC that it was an elimination game. No one told OKC that if they won, they could leave with the Larry O'Brien trophy. Because based on how they played, you can't tell me they knew. Taking nothing away from Indiana, who was great, but taking everything away from OKC, who completely no-showed. I half expected the Thunder to pick up their marker and just concede the putt, because that's essentially what they did when they came out to start the second half. Somebody better let the Thunder know that Game 7 is in their house Sunday, because clearly they had no idea Game 6 was in Indy last night. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. You need parts? We got parts. Product availability? Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for $10 more, or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Attention retirement savers. A top U.S. bank predicts a 2025 recession as tariffs rattle markets. According to reports, 2025 recession risk just increased significantly. That's why thousands of hardworking Americans are turning to award-winning precious metals company, Goldco. Goldco is offering you a free 2025 gold and silver kit. Plus, you can get an unlimited instant match and bonus silver for qualified accounts. Call 855-969-GOLD. Find out how you can help diversify your savings. Tax and penalty free today. That's 855-969-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060, continuing to unpack the big news over the weekend. As we predicted, it was our second prediction because the first one didn't go very well. But it was our second prediction here on the show. At least it was my second prediction. That when we got in here on Monday, that we would open the show discussing a Kevin Durant trade. And there we were in the last segment, opening the program, discussing a Kevin Durant trade. And with all the time that we have spent covering this from every angle imaginable, we have other podcasts, radio shows, columns, media entities have covered it as well. All the angles that we've all gone through, figuring out how this puzzle was going to get put together. Now we sit here the day after. So now what? What's next for the Phoenix Suns? And it's a question that, while I've given somewhat of thought to, it was hard to really know exactly what was going to be next until we saw what the return was for KD. We know what this team is trying to do. We know where this team is trying to get to, but we didn't know what draft picks they would get back, what players, what positions. As Eric mentioned in the comment that we read right before the break, they got back Jalen Green in this deal. Well, Jalen Green is a redundant player to both Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. And we all knew that Jalen Green was going to be a part of this deal, but many of us, myself included, wondered if they would just flip him someplace else, because where's he going to play? How's this going to work? Well, the reports are that they are looking to hold on to Jalen Green, at least as of right now. And so the what next is they have to piece together the rest of this roster. They have to try to fill the holes that they have. They don't have a center. They don't have a power forward. They're still looking to get better defensively. They're still looking to add that grit, although I think they added some grit in a big way with Dylan Brooks. They're looking to add that grit. They're looking to add young players to build around. And so what's next? Well, the immediate what's next is there's a draft pick inside the top 10 on Wednesday that has the Suns' name written on it. The Suns are going to add not one, but 2 first-round players in this year's draft to their roster for Jordan Ott to show off his player development chops. And so what's next is the NBA draft. What's next is what young players they can add to this group. What young players can be added to what Jordan Ott wants this team to do, culture-wise, vision-wise, defensively, offensively, the grit, the energy level. Now this team can focus on scouting this draft, although they've been doing it behind the scenes the whole time, and now understanding that there's a new crop of players, there's a new tier of players that are now available to them at 10 that were not going to be available to them at 29. And so the draft is the main focus. The draft is where our attention goes to. We were listening this morning, in the morning meeting, to the Hoop Collective podcast. They did an emergency edition of the show yesterday in the wake of the trade news. And I want to play you a cut here. Now, hopefully I hit the right one because I've got 3 cuts in front of me. And so if I make a mistake, we'll just recover on the other side of the clip. But the clip I'm going to try to play for you when I push the button here is the podcast giving advice to the Phoenix Suns. Unsolicited advice, as they called it, on what the Suns should do now, what the Suns should do now that they have the 10th overall pick.
Reasonable to guess that they're going to try to draft a center there because...
No. Whatever they do, please, Phoenix Suns, if you're listening, draft the best player. Don't draft some positional fit on the roster. Whoever the best player is, draft the player. Whoever.
And Ishbia's mandate is always everything to win now, everything to win now, everything to win now. You've got to get off of that. You're not winning this season.
The 10th overall pick cannot be used to draft a power forward or a center if there's a better overall player available on this board. The motto for the Phoenix Suns needs to be draft good players. Draft great players. Draft players that make you better. Because let's face it, the Phoenix Suns didn't necessarily care about redundancies in acquiring Jalen Green in this deal. I know they needed him in there to make the salaries work, but if they plan on keeping him, then the redundancy of having 3 wing players that play the same spot in Booker, in Beal, and now Green, redundancies don't matter. Take the best player available. Make your roster better. If that means you're taking a point guard, then take a point guard. If that means you're taking a power forward, take a power forward. If that means you're taking a center, take a center. But do not force this. Do not fall into the trap that we tell teams in every draft to avoid. How many times when the NFL draft rolls around do we talk about teams and say, do not force a positional need into what you do at any point in the draft? Draft the best player available. You'll be better off for it. If you draft the best player available, if you draft a lot of good players, one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to have a lot of good players on your team and you're not going to find yourself into a problem, or you're going to have a surplus that you can deal from down the road to get that missing piece. Draft the best player available on Wednesday. Do it at 10, do it at 29, do it with the 430 second-round picks that you now have. 5 of them that you got from Houston. I think only 1 of them is in this year's draft. You got a bunch of second-round picks. You got a bunch of picks overall. Draft the best player available. Because now we enter a new phase of Suns basketball. Now, Kevin Durant's gone. Bradley Beal's going to be going next, either via a trade or a buyout. He's not going to be on this roster come opening night. So now we really get to see Brian Gregory work. Now we really get to see a new and improved, more involved Matt Ishbia involved in this process. We now get to see what skill sets, what traits Jordan Ott wants to prioritize in building a roster. Now we get to see. So then to answer the question at the top, so now what? Now we get to see if they made the right hire. Now we get to see, did they pick the right guy to be their GM? Did they pick the right guy to be their coach? Because whatever you think of Brian Gregory, whatever you think of Jordan Ott, they were dealt a bad hand here. This was always going to be a tough situation to work out of. Now that they're out of it, now that it is behind them, they've got the 10th overall pick. They now get to pick a player there. And that's on them. KD, you can blame on the old Matt Ishbia. You can blame on James Jones. You can blame on the people that were here before that orchestrated that version of this roster. When you make a selection with the 10th overall pick, or, again, we're being technical, when Houston makes a selection on your behalf this Wednesday with the 10th overall pick, that now goes on your resume. That now is something we judge you off of, Brian Gregory. What happens with that player, how they develop, that's going to fall on you, Jordan Ott. This is now the time where we no longer get to say, oh, we just got to wait and see. On Wednesday, we're going to now have actual proof, actual data in front of us to start evaluating how good of a job these guys can do.
When you say the word rebuild.
No, we can't say that
We're
word.
retooling.
We're retooling, please.
Yeah, I don't want to say the rebuild word.
Yeah, please.
That was really inappropriate of me.
Before you need to apologize to Matt Ishbia.
Yes,
for saying
I would
rebuild.
like to apologize to Matt
Thank
Ishbia.
you.
They're not in a rebuild. They are in a retool.
Yes.
But you know what the most important part of a retool is? Isn't it acquiring assets and the best ones?
Yeah.
That is the job of the draft. Just acquire the best players available. You have enough holes, and I know we've talked about getting a 4, getting a 5. That's where the Suns need the most help, no doubt about it. But they're not in a position to draft for need to fill one hole. And drafting for need feels less important in the NBA than it does in the NFL, which you referenced, and I think it should be irrelevant in the NFL. And so now it feels even more ridiculous for the Suns to draft for need at 10 when there is no chance they win this year.
Build the best long-term roster you can build. And I don't think they would do this. If that means you take another player that is like Booker and like Beal and like Green, if that's the best player on the board, then do it. Because maybe you'll get a phone call from a team who wants that player, and you can flip that into future assets. You might be able to this week trade Royce O'Neal, to trade Grayson Allen, to trade Jalen Green. I know you say you want to keep him. Maybe a team calls you up. Put together the best long-term roster you can put together. Do not draft for need. Do not. 2 days ago, you didn't have the 10th overall pick. 2 days ago, that pick, which is yours, keep reminding you, was your pick 2 days ago. It was your pick. Belonged to Houston. You didn't have it. You got it back in this trade. It's the one redeeming piece from this trade. Do not screw it up by picking a player that fits a need because you are addicted to this idea that this team can win right now. Do not do that. Because what did I say? What was takeaway number 1 to open the show? This was a bad trade. Not all their fault. A bad trade. Again, circumstances put them into this camp, put them into this bucket where it was a bad trade, but it was a bad trade. Do not make a bad trade worse. Do not make a bad trade where you gave up Kevin Durant. And we could honestly get to a place if you make a bad pick on Wednesday, if you pick a center or you pick a power forward out of need, out of necessity, because you are addicted to this idea of winning next season, it may go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. Although the Luka trade may have the number 1 spot for a little bit. Because what will you have? Jalen Green? Where's he going to play? Dylan Brooks? I like Dylan Brooks. I think Dylan Brooks fits a lot about what this team's trying to do. And then the 10th overall pick that means nothing. Means nothing if you mess this up. It would be a abysmal trade. So what's next? All eyes are on the draft on Wednesday, and over the next couple days, we'll get you ready for the NBA draft and who the Suns might take with the 10th overall pick. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the show. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream, and I was waiting to see when we would hear from him today on the show. He was not around. Shockingly, did not show up for the open to the program, did not show up for the daily special. But John is in the chat. is somewhat owning his prediction that went wrong. Listen, we gave you the runway to have that type of prediction, and if you were right, you were going to be able to spike the football. That's what I love about this show. That's what I love about this medium. Sometimes I'm going to be right. I'm going to spike the football. Sometimes I'm going to be wrong, and you guys can all spike the football in my face. You can dunk on me. You can clown on me. The roles do get reversed, though, and it's you're the one that's calling in on a Take Friday and giving the prediction. I may spike the football in your face a little bit. But we did hear from John. When we come back, oh, yeah, there's a baseball team that played over the weekend. They took 2 out of 3 from Colorado. We'll talk about it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Ghost World Tour 2025. Ghost Theatrical Heavy Metal Arena Rock. August 11th, Footprint Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Ghost.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show, the returning favorite Paint the Night Parade, and so much more, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
Make the most out of summer with the local Arizona getaway at Hilton Phoenix Resort at the Peak. The Hilton Phoenix Resort is offering an exclusive local discount of 20% off your staycation. All suite accommodations. Bring your family and enjoy the 4-acre water park. Full-service spa and fitness center. Arizona residents get up to 20% off the best available rates. Go to HiltonPhoenixResortAtThePeak.com to book your stay. Proof of residence required.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back to the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Appreciate you joining us here today on the show. Our big story of the day has been the Kevin Durant trade to Houston. We'll take a quick timeout from that and discuss the baseball team over the weekend. And I'm going to need the producer of this program's help on this one, because the Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Went into Colorado, and they took 2 out of 3. They won a series. Should I feel positive about this? Because before this 9-game stretch started on Friday, I said, hey, give me 6-3. Win every series. That's going to get you to 6-3. You'd feel good about 3 straight series wins against this team. You wanted this team to have a higher bar. You said 7-2 minimum. I need to see some sweeps. You did not get that sweep this weekend. And you won the first 2 games of the series, so you were right in line for it. And you let it get away from you yesterday. You didn't complete the sweep. So, do I get to take a glass half full or a glass half empty approach? I want to take the glass half full. You, according to my own standards from Friday, this team did exactly what I needed them to do. Took 2 out of 3, won the series. Bullpen looked good. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show. Offense in Coors did what an offense in Coors is supposed to do. Eugenio Suarez hit about 300 home runs over the weekend. He had a good weekend. So how am I supposed to feel today?
It is weird because you won the first. It's always weird. What I've learned is when you lose the Sunday game and you win the Friday, Saturday, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth, talking about the whole weekend series.
Where if they lose on Friday and they win Saturday, Sunday, you feel a little better about it. It's the same result. It's 2 out of 3. It's a series win. But there is kind of an optics thing to it, right?
100%. But I do think, listen, they took care of business. Are they behind the 8 ball of the 7-2? Not really. You lost 1 to Colorado. You had that mulligan. You can lose 1 to the White Sox or the Marlins, but you just have to sweep one of those 2 series. I thought in my head, if you win all 3 series, sweep one of them, and win the other 2, that is a massive win. You took care of business. Would I have liked to seen a sweep? Would I be ranting and raving about a sweep this morning? Yes, I would. Am I disappointed that they took 2 of 3? No.
We've always said, if this team continues to just do what they did over the weekend, they just find a way to keep winning series. And I got to a place end of last month where I think we just said this phrase over and over and over again. Just win. I don't care if it looks pretty. I don't care if it looks ugly. I don't care if you win every game 14-13 because your bullpen constantly has meltdowns that we add to the list. I want a W next to the game every single day. Just win. Find a way to win. And we said that if they keep stacking these series wins together, one after another, sooner or later, they are going to be right back where we thought they could have been at the start of the season, in the middle of the NL wildcard race. And that means that even though they lost yesterday, and even though it was a missed opportunity, if we were keeping tabs of missed opportunities from this team this year, yeah, it would certainly go on a list of missed opportunities to not finish off the sweep after you win the first 2. But they got the series win. As Evan pointed out, they are still in line to hit both what I wanted to see in this 9-game stretch, what he said that the team needed to show him in this 9-game stretch. All of it is still on the table. So until it is off the table, until they get swept by Chicago or get swept by Miami, then I think it is, we just keep monitoring this team. We keep tabs on this team. We keep being confident in this team. As long as they keep doing what they are supposed to do, as long as they keep holding up their end of the bargain, and that is exactly what they did over the weekend. Now, you feel better about getting to 6-3. You feel better about getting to 7-2. You feel better about them taking full advantage of this stretch by finishing the sweep yesterday. But nothing is stopping them from going out there against Chicago, against Miami, and stacking up those wins and hitting all of the marks that we want them to hit. Again, if they go 6-3 in this stretch, season's on. Let's go. July matters now. July means something. You can be a buyer at the deadline. You don't take advantage of this stretch. You lose 2 out of 3, which is not what they did over the weekend. Then you start to wonder if this team's going to be a seller, who they might move in a deal at the end of the month. So again, continue to just take care of business. For my own prediction for this stretch, what I needed to see, they are right on pace. For what producer Evan needed to see, they're still on pace. They just got to find one sweep. It always feels better if you can get the sweep out of the way right away.
It's like when you're playing golf, and for me, I'm like, okay, I want to shoot X number. I got to find 3 pars out there.
Yeah.
You just got to find them.
You'd love to find them early.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to worry about it. You would love to find the sweep early. You would love to find 3 wins in this 9-game stretch right away. 1, 2, 3, boom, stack them up. How great would it have been? Back-to-back sweeps, 6 straight wins. They hit my number. They're 1 away from hitting your number. We all feel good about things. So it's just easy if you get the task done early, right? It's like the chores at home. You leave them around for too long. Then all of a sudden, a nice, easy chore feels like
when you have 6 in a row to do.
Right. Especially if it's something that you've just been putting off and putting off and putting off, and now you got to get it done by a certain time. Now, all of a sudden, while you're doing that chore, something else in the house breaks. You got to fix that, and then you don't get the chore done. Get the chores done early. Clean the sink. Put the dishes in the dishwasher. Do the laundry. Get it done when you're supposed to get it done. This is me kind of reminding myself to do the chores that I have to do when I get home later today. Just kind of a quick little.
It's
just a quick little reminder for myself of, hey, a dishwasher is still full. You probably should empty that when you get home. And I think there's a basket of laundry I got to fold. So it was an analogy for this team, but also just a very nice, quick, gentle reminder to myself to make sure I get the chores done when I get home later today. The Arizona Diamondbacks start a 3-game series with the Chicago White Sox next up in this 9-game stretch. 2-1 so far in this stretch. Again, a missed opportunity yesterday, but one really encouraging sign that we're going to get to a little bit in hour number 2 of the show. When we come back, 480-864-1060, the phone call for you to join us. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Buy or sell. Producer Evan has 5 takes. I'm either buying or selling those takes, and just taking a guess here, I'm assuming Kevin Durant and Suns related.
It's a lot of NBA.
Yeah. Now, I'm not surprised that the NBA heavily featured in buy or sell. We'll do it next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince DeLisio from the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in Saturday morning as we head out to East Mesa and introduce you to the Skyline Coyote football family. We are taking our show on the road, and we want you to join us. Plus, we continue to check in on vacationing ADs, and we'll be joined this week by Yonker Athletic Director Jackie Garcia. Start your weekend off with a smile with the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring, live in Phoenix. With special guests, Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands. 1 incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
The summertime savings are heating up at Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Right now, you can receive a 0% APR for 36 months on a brand new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander.
That's right, 0%. Or check out a 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage for just $16,000. Come see us at the Scottsdale Auto Show or go to ScottsdaleMitsubishi.com to check out our current selection of inventory not affected by future tariff changes.
The name to remember, Scottsdale Mitsubishi, Scottsdale Mitsubishi, another Mark Auto Group dealership.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
One study found that half of all clients are unhappy with their lawyer. The number one complaint, a total lack of communication.
That's why we survey our clients and know over 97% are happy. Do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first.
Attention high schoolers, let's collab this summer with free summer school at Primavera Online. Our summer courses are flexible and only 4 weeks long. Now enrolling for grades 9 to 12 at freesummerschool.com.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back to close up hour number 1 here of the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060. Appreciate you joining us here today. Very newsworthy Monday edition of the show. We crowned an NBA champion last night. The Suns traded Kevin Durant. Was a good series for the Diamondbacks, taking 2 out of 3. A lot to unpack. I'm assuming most of those, if not all of those topics, are a part of today's buy or sell. So hand things over to producer Evan, who has takes that I'm either buying or selling.
We have 6 today. Little extra sauce in there for you.
Well,
we'll see if we get to it.
I think you're adding the extra sauce because, just a quick programming note, no shows from us on Thursday and Friday. I'm out of town, going to a wedding out in California. So no shows Thursday and Friday. So you're making up for lost time. Leftovers jam-packed with stories this week. Buy or sell, 25 topics on tomorrow's show. You're just going to jam it in over the next 3 days. Go ahead.
The Suns will try to flip Green before the trade deadline next year. Give him a little extra runway there.
So it's interesting. I've heard a lot of people weigh in on Jalen Green's role in this trade. And again, he's in there because he just makes a lot of money and they needed to make the math work. And everybody kind of thought, well, the Suns are going to reroute him because they have Devin Booker. As of this moment, they have Bradley Beal. There's a redundancy here. They have 3 players who do the same thing. I have a cut from the Hoop Collective podcast that we didn't get to where Tim McMahon basically says he's the same player. It's the same skill set. He does the same thing. So they're going to reroute him. They're going to move him. But then you hear all the reports of they don't expect to do that. They're going to keep him. They like him. They think he's going to fit what they're trying to do. And I'm left wondering, are they trying to create leverage again? Is that stuff getting leaked because they don't want the teams that may be interested in trading for Jalen Green to think that they can fleece the Suns? I don't know. I don't actually know what the motives are here. I know that I can look at this from a pure basketball fit and say that this doesn't work. And so based on that, based on just looking at the makeup of the roster, I'll buy this. All of the info points you in another direction. This is just a pure basketball logistics thing for me. This isn't going to work. So buy.
Feels like if they don't try to flip him and they let him run, kind of doing the same thing we did last year.
I'm sorry. What you said? What did you say? The same thing as last year?
We are same, but different, but still same.
I mean, I can't say it any better than the drop can, so there you go.
The Suns will be active before Wednesday night's draft, whether a trade, free agent, or just working the phones in general.
Bye. They're now equipped with more tools in the toolbox than they were last week. 5 second-round picks. I know they're just second-round picks, right? I've heard a lot of that. Oh, they're just second-round picks. They're not as valuable. Those can be the sweeteners to get somebody to take on Grayson Allen's contract. Those can be the sweeteners that get somebody to want to trade for Royce O'Neal. Now, all of a sudden, you are under the second apron. Now, all of a sudden, you did get a piece back that actually fits with what you're trying to do. And then once you're under the second apron, all sorts of things open up to you as a basketball team. So, yes, I think Brian Gregory, now that this KD stuff is in the past, now that they know they've got Jalen Green, they've got the 10th overall pick, they've got Dylan Brooks. They are working the phones. And if it was me, if I was sitting in that chair, everything is on the table. If I'm Brian Gregory and I've decided I'm keeping Jalen Green, but somebody calls me and wants to talk Jalen Green, we're talking Jalen Green. I like Dylan Brooks. I like what he can bring to the culture. I like the 3-and-D skill set. Somebody wants to call and talk about Dylan Brooks. Let's have a conversation. I am not shutting down any conversations right now if I'm the Phoenix Suns. I am embracing the ability to use these assets that I have to try to get out of this mess.
I will keep it local, so we'll go to D-backs before going to national NBA. If the D-backs can get within a game and a half by the All-Star break, they currently sit 3.5 back, they will make the postseason.
Oh. Man, it was such a mixed bag weekend for this team. You take 2 out of 3. Bullpen looks good. Again, we're going to touch on them in hour number 2 of the program. Corbin Carroll getting an MRI today. AJ Puck done for the year. Gabby Moreno out for a couple of weeks. Like, good, a lot of good, and then there's just all this bad that happens with it. So, I don't know. What does the roster look like? Who else is hurt by the time they get to just one game out? I mean, I'm somewhat joking, but it just feels like every time we turn, there's another injury. Something else is popping up. So I'll sell this. I don't want to sell it, but I'll sell it.
The injury bug has been a huge problem this year, no doubt about it. If they are not sellers at the deadline, though, they will at least try to re-sign Eugenio Suarez, who to me has probably been their best offensive player over the last 2 months.
Now, wait a minute.
And I know this
Wait
is
a
going to
minute.
be...
Wait a minute. You can't. This is our thing. Okay? This is our thing on the show. We created this. This is ours.
He can DH. You can move Suarez to DH.
This is ours. Okay? We came up with Lawler Watch together. And now, first chance you get, you're looking to sell the stock.
He's a DH.
You should be ashamed. You need to apologize. You apologized to Matt Ishbia already this hour. Now you owe an apology to Jordan Lawler.
I apologize to Jordan
This is
Lawler.
unbelievable. This is a disgrace. You've turned your back on all of us. You have turned your back on all of the fans of this show, all of our loyal listeners who are in the weeds with us, with Jordan Lawler. You've turned your back on all of us. It's a shame, is what it is. No, I don't think they should re-sign Eugenio Suarez. All kidding aside. They have Lawler. I think they don't want to landlock themselves. Now, I mean, to your point, maybe Suarez could DH and you play Lawler at third. Maybe you can find, but then to me, I think the best front offices in baseball do a great job of having choices. You have a couple of key players that you build around, right? We're building around Corbin Carroll, okay? We're building around him. We're building around Geraldo Perdomo. You have a couple of pieces that you choose to build around, and then the rest you fill with young players that you're hoping that reach their potential, and then if they reach their potential, then you add them to the core. But you like to keep that fluidity. You like to keep the optionality of moving guys in and out. And I think if you sign Suarez, he's going to be a free agent, or I guess they could pick up his option. They could do that. Interesting. No, the option's this year.
The option was...
So he's a free agent at the end of the year. So he's having a good year. He's going to want a lot of money.
He's having a really good year.
They've got too many others. They got a lot of pitching that they're going to have to spend this offseason on. Sell. Mainly because of this. And you know what? Shout out to John because he brings up a good point. You hung up on us.
I mean, that was low-hanging fruit.
I mean,
John.
but it's true.
That was low-hanging fruit, and I knew it was coming.
Just because it was low-hanging fruit doesn't mean that you don't take it and you make the joke anyway. It's exactly what John did.
The Thunder will win more than just one championship with the core they currently have.
Sell. I know everybody is ready to anoint the Thunder the next great dynasty in basketball. Just like last year, we were ready to anoint the Boston Celtics as the next great dynasty in basketball. Just like before that, we were ready to anoint the Denver Nuggets as the next great NBA dynasty. And then before that, it was the Milwaukee Bucks. How could they ever lose with Giannis? They won their first. Now they're going to win another. All of those teams that I mentioned. Think about where Denver, Milwaukee, and Boston currently find themselves here today. Think about all of those teams having new coaches than the coaches that won them a championship. Stop. Enjoy this for what it was. A dominant basketball team all regular season long won the championship. They are one of the best teams we have seen win a title in a long time with how just dominant they were up until the finals. But they're not a dynasty yet. That is a tough mountain to climb again. Not everybody's the Kansas City Chiefs. Not everybody is the New England Patriots. Not everybody is the Florida Panthers. They're just not. Until they do it, especially when you have the track record of the teams here in the NBA that have done this over the last couple of years, no, I'll sell. Hour number 2 of the program coming up next, the NBA draft. What will the Suns do with the 10th overall pick? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Celebrate Independence Day with your hometown professional soccer club. Phoenix Rising takes on Lexington SC on Friday, July 4th at 7:30 p.m. in a special military appreciation match. A night to honor those who serve and turn up the heat on the pitch. Fans will receive limited edition of Phoenix Rising sunglasses at the gate. And don't miss the debut of the club's Americana merchandise line, including a patriotic training top. Plus, enjoy $1 beers all match long, perfect for a summer night under the lights. Tickets start at just $15. Grab yours now at phxrisingfc.com.
Breaking Benjamin. Stay forever. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Fry's food stores and all Walgreens.
This summertime, it's Modelo time. Whether you're poolside or curbside, kick it with an ice cold Modelo. Time to fire up the grill and turn up. Time to reach for a crisp Modelo or the refreshing lime and salt flavors of Modelo Chelada. Time to raise one to summer, and time to stock up on Modelo before summer is gone. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Raising Cane's is the only fuel I need. Their chicken fingers always fill my tank. So when I'm running on fumes, I always refuel at Raising Cane's. But turns out, not everything's fueled by Cane's. Guess the old girl prefers her sauce unleaded. One love.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2 of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Producer Evan, how did the golf go this weekend?
Good. Hot.
Well, yeah, you were playing in the middle of the day because you did not have a tee time when we left the building on Friday. Did you get your tee time all squared away?
Yeah. Went out there, played Arizona Grand.
Okay.
Nice time. I played pretty well. But then you just run out of gas on the back nine. It gets so hot.
Yeah, that's why you don't play the time that you pick to play. That's why you play the earlier tee time. You just get up early. Yeah. That first, when the alarm first goes off, you're a little groggy. You're a little annoyed that you did this. But then once you're getting up, getting ready, and you realize what you're going to do, you're going to play golf, it's fine.
You live and you learn. You live and you learn. That's one. Should have played earlier.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to ruin your score on the back nine, then yes, you need to.
The last three were tough. Ran out of gas.
What did we shoot?
We shot 88.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, double. You just hate taking a double on a par 5 at the end, or sorry, a par 3 at the end, because you didn't get it there, and then you got the par 5 17th. I didn't do well on that, so finishing double just makes you feel way worse.
Yeah, listen, you could have the worst round in the world. You end on a birdie, you're feeling good going into that next round. One hole can change the way you feel about everything.
Exactly. That's why I love golf. You're one hole from thinking I'm going to quit, and one hole from thinking, man, I should try the qualifier.
Yeah, let me try to qualify for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Let me try to get in there. Let me try to get an exemption in there. Oh, good. I'm glad that. Listen, I have never. I used to play golf quite a bit. I don't play it as much anymore. I have broken 100 a couple of times. That's kind of where I live. The breaking 90, that feels like it's a way away from me. I just don't think I have enough reps.
It's hard. It's hard when you don't play every day. Like when I was in high school, when I played high school golf, we played every day. And now that I get out twice a month, it feels like I lose it. You just lose it all the time.
The mental reps, the physical reps, all of it, stacks on top of each other. And then when you stop doing it at that level, then those skills kind of fade a little bit.
Speaking of playing in the morning this weekend.
You want the update?
I would love an update on how softball went.
Yeah, so for the listeners who maybe are just tuning in or were not with us on Friday, we shared our weekend plans, and I had not me personally, I was not playing. I was just being a supportive dad. My daughter had a softball tournament, and it was Midnight Madness, as we were describing it on Friday. And our first game was at 5 o'clock, and we played at 7:30. And then the big jump was our third game. The bracket game was at 11:30. And if we won that game, we would then play in the championship game at 1 a.m. in the morning. And I forget exactly who it was, but we had a listener on Friday ask me, and it was a fair question. It was a very fair question of whether or not I was rooting for the team to lose the 11:30 game, so that we weren't there at 1 a.m. And I answered it. I answered it honestly. I was not playing it up to just play the good dad card on the radio. I truly, genuinely believe I wanted them to win the 11:30 game. I wanted them to play in the 1 a.m. game so that they could win. They could get their championship rings. They could get the banner. We could celebrate, at 2:30 in the morning, a big victory that their hard work was worth it. I was ready to go. So 5 o'clock game, 7:30 game, those come and go. And I then show up a little bit after the 7 o'clock game gets done. And now we're waiting around for the 11:30 game. We won a game and we lost the game. And then we're playing the team in the 11:30 game that we just beaten. Again, I wasn't at the first two games. But I get there, and we win the 11:30 game. So we're playing at 1 a.m. Playing at 1 a.m. It's late. The sprinklers kicked on during one of the games that caused a little bit of a delay. There was just a lot going on. Unfortunately, we lost in the championship game. So then I was thinking, my radio brain was going off, and I was thinking, this is a great topic for us. Knowing that they had lost the championship game, now would I have rather gone back in time and had them lose the 11 o'clock game, knowing that we lost? Now, they finished in second by making it to the championship game. So they got runner-up rings. They got a banner for finishing in second. So it wasn't all for nothing, and it was a great time. It was a fun moment. Now, the piece of information that I did not share with everybody on Friday that I'll share again now is we were not the only age bracket. There was a 12U, a 14U, and then a 16, 18U combined bracket. As we were leaving, left the parking lot a little after 3 a.m. on now Sunday morning, just I didn't know this at the time, a mere few hours from Kevin Durant getting traded to Houston. I'm in the parking lot in Tempe getting ready to leave. There are teams showing back up to the park because they're playing the 4:30 game. They're playing the 6 a.m. championship game. There were more games to be played after us. As we were leaving, there were other games that were starting. If you were with us and if I took your phone away from you and you had no idea what time it actually was, you would not know that it was past 1 a.m. The amount of people, the cars in the parking lot, There was a concession stand that was making food.
I was going to ask, did you have a snack stand?
Oh,
making
yeah.
Food?
I made a Circle K run at one point for my family. I had to go get snacks. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was, the girls went to In-N-Out in between the games. I mean, it was, again, if I took your phone away and you couldn't look physically at what time it was, you would have no idea that it was 3 a.m. in the morning and there was, softball being played.
And people are rolling in to play the 4:30 game.
After previously playing like the 8:30 and 10 o'clock at night games. So they got done. They went home, I guess took a nap for a little bit, whatever they did. See, in between our games, we just hung around the park. For us, it was a 40-minute drive from the field to home. So we're like, this doesn't make sense. We'll just stay here. We'll get snacks. It was 10 o'clock at night. We were watching other teams play. It was nice out. It wasn't hot. Sun's not beating down on you.
Beautiful temperature, probably.
Yeah, it was great. But no, the last game started at 6 a.m. Sunday morning. The game started 5 p.m. Saturday night. The last games ended 6 a.m. Sunday morning. So I woke up, and then I was able to look at the bracket and see the other teams that won.
That's insane.
It was a good time.
That's like fun, if you do it once a year. But you said they're going back in 3 weeks?
So I believe we have another Midnight Madness next month. I believe. I'm not sure. I know this upcoming weekend we're up in Prescott.
Yeah.
So we're traveling up north. It'll be much cooler up there. I'm looking forward to
that'll be nice.
Some softball up north. But yeah, so I told everybody I did try to produce some social content. Remember I said I promised I would try to break out the phone and do some social content. The new phone doesn't have the Instagram account on it, and I didn't have access to the passwords where I was, so I couldn't actually do the content. So I apologize. But yeah, no, second place, runners up. They played well. They played well. But yeah, walked in the door Sunday morning, head hit the pillow, 4:05 a.m.
It's a long night.
It was a long night, but it was a lot of fun. The girls had a lot of fun, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
And they were, they're 10, 11, 12, so they're sluggish that late. None of them are used to being up that late. Now, me, I'm a night owl as it is. I love staying up late. There's always a game on. Yeah. I'm doing something. So for me, everyone's looking at me like I've got energy. I'm walking around. They're like, dude, what? I'm like, this is where I thrive.
I always say my time of night, like that 11 to 1 a.m. of what's on. King of Queens is on at that hour.
George Lopez was on at that hour.
George Lopez is on at that hour.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my time where I can just sit. Nobody's going to bother me from 11 to 1.
That's a great point.
Yep. It's awesome.
No, you're gonna be left alone at that point. So yeah, it was a good time over the weekend. Thank you for asking. And again, I hope everybody out there enjoyed the story and had a good weekend as well. The NBA draft in a couple of days here, and the Phoenix Suns now, technically, they don't hold the pick just yet. But the 10th overall pick, for all intents and purposes, on Wednesday belongs to the Phoenix Suns. Houston will make that selection. That player will end up going to Phoenix. That player will be a player that Phoenix told Houston, this is who we want with this pick. And so that leads us to a pretty important question. What are they going to do with the 10th overall pick? What should they do with the 10th overall pick? What type of players, what skill set of players should they be prioritizing? And this is where you have to bring the coach into the equation. This is where you can keep Jordan Ott a little bit out of the KD talks, right? It doesn't really matter. You know what salaries you're going to have to take back to make things work. When you look at the deal, Dylan Brooks is a fit regardless. He's a fit on almost every team in the NBA with the way that he plays, the intensity, the defense, the 3-and-D skill set. I mean, he's a good fit for basically everybody in the NBA. But now you're going to be drafting not one, but 2 young players in the NBA draft. This is where you bring in your head coach. This is where you bring in your new head coach who has a background in player development, who got started in the video room, who understands identifying players and identifying what roles to put them in, what skills he prioritizes in building out a roster. This is where your coach should have a stronger say, especially now that you have the 10th overall pick, a player that, just based on the way the NBA draft normally goes, a much better chance that the 10th overall pick is playing an important role for the Phoenix Suns, not just this year, but for years to come over the 29th overall pick, right? Just basic probability and statistics tell you got a better chance towards the top of the draft of landing that home run player. Now, it's hit or miss. You can look at every spot in the draft and find a bunch of hits and find a bunch of busts. It happens. The Suns have a bunch of hits and a bunch of busts in every spot that they've picked over the last decade. But this is where you bring your young coach in. And this is where you ask him. And you asked this probably when you were interviewing him. You've had these meetings before you knew you were going to have the 10th overall pick. What attributes, what skills are we prioritizing? What does any player that we select in the NBA draft, what boxes do they have to check? And it goes back
the alignment
to what Brian Gregory said in his first interview. He talked about the grit. He talked about playing great defensively. He talked about, and I thought it was his best, strongest answer because I think it was the closest thing to a coach's answer. He said he wants all of us that when we leave PHX Arena, when we get done listening to the game on the radio, when we get done watching the game on TV, however we're consuming Suns basketball that night, this organization, this franchise, he himself wants us to walk away from that game praising the Suns for how hard they played, for how tough they were, for how they were diving for every loose ball. That you knew that the Suns had given it their all, that you knew they put everything on the line. They emptied the tank in that specific game. You're not left wondering, man, there's that loose ball they didn't dive for. That fourth quarter, they kind of took their foot off the gas. No. Brian Gregory, in his introductory press conference, told us they wanted to remove all of that. The team we were going to be proud of. It's a team that we were going to know. We were going to visually be able to see it every single night, how hard they were working, that they were never going to be outworked by another team. That's the blueprint. That's the model. Look at players who are going to be available in that tier and read the scouting reports, watch what they did in college or overseas, whoever the player is, and ask yourself while watching that player, is this player working hard? Is this player going to outwork every other player on the floor? Is this player solid on both ends of the floor? Is this player going to dive for loose balls? Is this player going to be? And this is where I agree with what Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory are trying to do. Because when we talk about the Spartan way, we've joked about that, the Steeler way, the Giant way. When you say those words out loud, you think of a certain kind of player. You think of a certain kind of skill set. I want the Phoenix Suns to get to a place where we say, oh, that player is a Phoenix Sun. And we want that to mean a good thing. That starts with the 10th overall pick. So you don't need to go best player available. Now, if it just so happens the best player available is a power forward, is a center, you will be able to check two boxes. You'll be able to draft the best player available while also addressing a need. Bryant, the kid from U of A, is kind of floated around in this range. He's a player that fits a need and also could be one of the best players available on the board. How much of a deep dive, Producer Evan, have you done into the NBA draft since yesterday's news? Have you been just scouring all over the place getting ready?
I've been digging in, putting my foot in there.
Is there a player that has jumped out to you knowing that the Suns are now picking with the 10th overall pick?
To be honest, I haven't found anybody I've fallen in love with yet. And that'll come. That'll come as we get into the problem is, when we talk about the NFL draft, I just watch more college football.
Fair enough.
And so I have guys that I've seen all the way through and can kind of fall in love with them that way. When preparing for the Suns NBA draft, I'm going back and watching games that I never watched.
Yeah.
So still working through some of the names. I haven't found anybody I really have fallen in love with yet. How about yourself?
I have a guy.
Okay.
I have a guy, and he's not a guy that fits power forward or center. But the point guard at a BYU, Demon. I really like the skill set there. This team needs playmakers. This team needs a player that can facilitate the basketball, is going to make everybody around him better. Right now with this team, you've got Ryan Dunn, who you're trying to develop. Oso Ighodaro, who you're trying to develop. You're trying to find a nice pairing for Devin Booker. I know Point Booker might be back with the way this roster is currently constructed. Do we feel that is the best spot for Book to be? I don't. I think he's better suited playing his natural position as a two guard. So imagine getting somebody in there who's a pass-first playmaker that's going to be able to get Ryan Dunn great looks, that's going to be able to get Oso good looks, Nick Richards good looks, Devin good looks. The guy you take at 29 may be a player that draws into your rotation. He makes that player better. So, yeah, that's one player that I'm starting to fall in love with, that if he was there at 10, I'd be like, a playmaker, kind of exactly what a first-year head coach would want. Give me somebody that's a young playmaker that's going to be able to facilitate the basketball and get it to these young players that I'm trying to develop.
And point guard's a spot they need.
Yeah.
That was a big hole for them last year. Devins, he's a big dude in the few times I've watched him play against Arizona State. I mean, he's 6'9" at point guard.
And you have a pretty easy in to get all of the info that you could need. BYU's head coach, Kevin Young, was an assistant here in Phoenix. So there is a phone call that you can make and get some information about who he is as a player, character, culture. Is he going to be a good fit? I mean, you can get all those answers in short order if that's a player that you were interested in. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. When we come back, this is not a lie. This is the truth. It was a great weekend for the Diamondbacks bullpen. That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Life can throw a lot your way. For some, that includes first episode psychosis, or FEP. It can feel overwhelming, like hearing or seeing things that aren't there, or feeling disconnected from reality. The good news? FEP can be treated. Recovery can include medication, therapy, and support from peers. There are programs across Arizona with people who understand and are ready to walk with you. It all starts with one click. Visit learnmorefep.org. Sponsored by MacForce, working to build healthier communities.
Prepare for the Maximum Fun Tour. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, Saturday, October 25th. Special guests, the Wonder Years and Dinosaur Pileup. Tickets from $30. On sale now at livenation.com. A day to remember. Yellow Card, part of the American First Credit Union Concert Series.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 602-691-6641. That's 602-691-6641. 602-691-6641.
This is Above the Noise. June was supposed to be unforgettable for the Pacers, and it was, but not for the reasons anyone in Indianapolis had hoped for. Losing in Game 7 stings. That's just the nature of the sport. But what happened to the Pacers in the NBA Finals went deeper. Not only did they fall just short of the first title in franchise history, but they may have also lost their franchise cornerstone. Tyrese Halliburton, the heartbeat of the Indiana Rise, went down with what appears to be an Achilles tear. It's the kind of moment that quiets even the loudest arenas. Everything was on the line. Pride, legacy, health, hardware. The Pacers left it all on the floor. And while they showed the world that they belong among the league's elite, the final chapter of this run turned into a gut punch. Losing a series hurts. Losing your star in the process, that's a different kind of pain. One that might take a whole lot longer to recover from physically and emotionally. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. If you played pickleball in regular sneakers, you know you can pay the price. They don't cut it. And Todd found this out the hard way. We have this great sponsor, Tyrell. They make the best pickleball shoes. So one day Todd is playing pickleball and he forgot his Tyrell pickleball shoes. Well, you know what happened? He got hurt. He was playing in some fancy different shoes that aren't meant for pickleball, and he learned a lesson. Tyrell has everything you need to keep your feet cool. They're tough. They're lightweight. They're so solid on your feet, and you're going to wear and tear on the court, and they're ready to go. Every detail is built to help you play better. Tyrell pickleball shoes. If you want to play longer, feel better, and stop sliding around in those old sneakers, go to TyrellPickleball.com. You can look like a pro. You can play like a pro. It's Tyrell pickleball shoes. You spell it Tyrol. Tyrell pickleball shoes, the best pickleball shoes, purpose-built for pickleball.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back to the program. Before we get into the Diamondbacks and their bullpen having a great weekend, a much-needed weekend. We'll get to that here in just a minute. But based on the conversation that we just had in the last segment, discussing what's next for the Phoenix Suns, starting with the number 10 overall pick on Wednesday, we got, this is a P1. This is one of our guys. Brian's joining us here. He has a question for me. That's all I got. Great producing of the program where producer Evan's like, yeah, Brian's got a question about the Suns and Bradley Beal. All right, so I don't know what we're going to unpack here together, Brian, but the floor is yours, my friend.
Sweet. How's it going, Chris?
What's going on? How are you, man?
First off, quick shout out to Von Hansen's meats.
Oh, yeah.
My grill was chock full of meat this weekend. I was wheeling and dealing back there like a madman. Great product there. I've been there several times. They've got Minnesota ties, so all your Midwesterners out there, head down to that location. Awesome.
I love that. Quick round of applause for our friends over at Von Hansen. Love that. Love that. Shout out to them. All right, Brian, what do you got on the Suns?
So it's I think my goal for the Suns is the bar is so low right now. I just want to get off of the apron too. Mm-hmm. And just do whatever it takes to get off of that. And earlier you said getting rid of Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen would do that, and that's good. Which brings us back, and it circles back around to Bradley Beal. You seem convinced that somehow they're going to be able to move this guy, and I don't see it. If I'm Bradley Beal, I've got a no trade clause. My family loves it here. I only have to play 40 games a year. I don't know how you're going to get anybody to take this guy off of our hands with that no trade clause in his contract, because I think when we move him, then everything really takes off and can ignite the Suns to wheel and deal and do some different things. So if you could draw me a roadmap on who you're going to find to take him off our hands, I'd appreciate it.
You got it, Brian. And thank you for the phone call. Appreciate the shout out to Von Hansen, our lovely partner here on the program. The roadmap is simple, and it may be a little bit lost in translation. I don't think that there is anybody out there, at least right now, that is going to take on Bradley Beal's contract. I do, however, think the Phoenix Suns would be very interested in buying out Bradley Beal's contract. There is a difference between me saying the Suns are going to trade Bradley Beal and Bradley Beal being on this roster on opening day. Bradley Beal is not going to be on this roster on opening day, but it is not going to be because the Suns find a trade partner that is willing to take on Bradley Beal's contract. They are going to buy him out. Now, he has to agree to said buyout, so that's where you get into this game of chicken. But if you do this, if you give Bradley Beal 80%, 85%, 90%, whatever discount Bradley Beal is willing to take on this deal, and you can move on from Bradley Beal, and Beal can go and pick his next destination and can find the place where he wants to play that gives him a chance to achieve his dreams, and he can have all that money that the Suns are going to pay him over the next 2 seasons and maybe chase a championship someplace else. He may be willing to do that. I know everybody says, well, why would he waive the no trade clause? Why would he want to go play someplace else? Do you think it's enjoyable for him to be at a place where every single day he's going to know that he is not wanted? They just added another player that plays the same position as him. They added Jalen Green, who does the same thing as Bradley Beal, who does the same thing as Devin Booker. And so my roadmap for this has always been simple. They are going to buy him out. That has always been the most likely option here because it's the option where the Suns have the most control. It's where the Suns can say, hey, we don't want you here. Now, I'm not sure they're going to be willing to just buy him out completely 100% of the contract and tell him to go away. I think they're going to want some level of relief here. They're going to want some level of a discount on the $100+ million that is owed to him over the next couple of seasons. But there is a pathway for them to do this. Because yes, Brian, to your point, nothing really can start here. Moving Kevin Durant was a very important step one. But important step number two is you have to move off the $100+ million of Bradley Beal. Because yes, getting under the second apron is very important, but you don't want to just slightly get under the second apron, have all those tools available to you, and then immediately go back over the second apron and find yourself in the same spot. The Phoenix Suns got a crash course, a very quick lesson as to why you don't want to be a second apron team unless you are absolutely ready to go for it. And oh, by the way, if you notice, the two teams that played in the finals last night in Game 7, we haven't even gotten to touch on that game. Maybe file that away for the leftovers. Maybe leftover story number one. Neither of those teams were second apron teams. Neither of those teams, I believe, were first apron teams. So you don't have to cross these thresholds to build a winner. You don't have to outspend everybody else in order to be a winner. Matt Ishbia certainly prescribed to that idea when he first got here. And he may still believe in that idea now, but that's not the way you have to do it. You have to get under the second apron. You have ways to do it right now by moving some contracts, cutting some players that you have some non-guarantees or some team options on. You trade O'Neal, you trade Grayson Allen, one or both of them. You are then under the second apron. And then when Bradley Beal's contract comes off the books, the Suns are going to have more money than they know what to do with in terms of salary cap space. So that's the roadmap. Is it one that I am 100% confident you can take it to the bank? No. There's nothing about the Phoenix Suns right now that I'm 100% about. You see who's sitting in the GM chair. You see who's being more involved. Nothing about this franchise should be taken 100% seriously. Nothing that I say or predict about this team I can have 100% confidence in. It would be foolish of me to sit up here today and say I have 100% confidence that Bradley Beal is not going to be on the roster on opening day. I'm pretty confident in it. I'm pretty confident that he's not going to be a member of this team. I'm pretty confident that they are going to try to buy him out of that deal and just move on and take the pain. Yes, I'm pretty confident that they are going to try to do that, that they are going to do that. But nothing about the Phoenix Suns right now is 100% confident. Shout out to Brian for calling in. You can always call into the program, 480-864-1060. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. What about the shout out to Von Hansons? I didn't expect that to start the call.
That was awesome. It was awesome. It was great to see it.
Why do you think when we do take Friday, when we give away the gift cards on Friday, I tell you this is the place to be? That's the place you want to go.
We wouldn't give away a gift card to a place we don't like.
Right. We are endorsing this product. This is us telling you this place is great. Now you have, not from me, not from producer Evan, P1, listener of the program, Brian, unsolicited, giving Von Hansons a shout out.
Awesome to see. And we're telling you, this place can't miss. Over at Von Hansons.
Can't miss. And we're not here on Friday. So no Take Friday. Maybe we'll do a Take Wednesday.
I was going to say, we're going to do a Take Wednesday.
We'll try to give away some gift cards to Von Hansons on Wednesday. How about that? We'll file that one away. I was supposed to talk about the Diamondbacks bullpen, so we'll take a quick time out, and we'll get to that on the other side. Always appreciate, listen, there's one thing I love about this show is we can have all the structure in the world. We can have how we're going to talk for 2 hours about all these topics. There's something that's on your mind. There's a left turn that you want us to make, like talking about Bradley Beal. That's what I love about this job. So always willing to let you control the show and take us in whatever direction that you want to take us into. So we'll get back into the Diamondbacks bullpen. A great weekend, deserving of a topic of conversation with how good they were over the weekend. We will get into that next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends. celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Got mouths to feed? How about a dunk contest? For a limited time, a 20-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's is just $6. Everybody will jump at the chance to dunk their chicken McNuggets into those crowd-pleasing dipping sauces, sweet and sour, ranch, and tangy barbecue. You'll probably see some reverse dunks, 360-degree slams, and the classic two-handed jam. Host your dunk contest tonight with a 20-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's for just $6. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then, 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated, and the lawyer you choose needs to be equipped to handle them. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
Hey, it's Big Cat from the Pardon My Take podcast. If you're looking for a drink that keeps the fun going without weighing you down, pick up some Truly Hard Seltzer. It's crazy refreshing, comes in tons of different flavors, and has only 100 calories per serving. Truly makes it easy to keep the fun going with your crew, which is exactly why it's the official hard seltzer of Pardon My Take. Whether you're out with friends, hosting a game day at home, or just kicking back, grab a Truly Hard Seltzer. Pick it up at your local Total Wine, Walmart, or Circle K, because there's always a lot of party left, Phoenix.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060, Chris Schubert with you. Diamondbacks bullpen. I didn't know this was allowed. They went to Coors Field. They played 3 games, and as an entire bullpen in Coors Field, allowed 1 run. 1. 3 games, Coors Field. Most hitter-friendly park in all of baseball? One of, to be safe? To just be fair to everybody else, one of.
Certainly, if not the best, second or third.
Right, top 3. Most hitter-friendly park in baseball. Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen over the weekend, 1 earned run. You check the box score, a lot of zeros thrown up by the bullpen. How about this? Kevin Ginkel, last 2 appearances, 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Ryan Thompson, over his last 3 outings, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 1 strikeout. Is the Diamondbacks bullpen back? Kevin Ginkel and Ryan Thompson, you would think if you're picking anybody out there to trust, I use that word very carefully, to turn things around, you would go to the veterans. You would go to the guys who have been there, have a track record. Kevin Ginkel, a couple years ago, most trusted member for Torey Lovullo out there. Ryan Thompson's been a veteran, has been with this team the last couple of years, has been a reliable go-to guy. You'd expect these two guys to pitch more like to these numbers on a regular basis, and they haven't. And so the reason why I wanted to focus on this, and the reason why we want to talk about this is the key. This changes everything. If this bullpen is going to put up zeros, or at least be as consistent as they were over the weekend, you start to not worry about all the injuries that are piling up. You start to not worry about the state of the rotation. Because if the bullpen's going to be handed a lead, and they're going to be able to, dare I say, keep said lead, you feel totally different about this ball club. It is a totally different outlook having the bullpen they've had from the beginning of the year up until now to the bullpen that they had over the weekend. Those are two totally different outcomes. They're totally different outlooks. If you have the bullpen that you had at the beginning of the year, you worry. It's a constant roller coaster ride. It is an up and down on an everyday basis. Which version of the bullpen are we getting tonight? The good version or the bad version? The version that gives us confidence or the version that adds to the meltdown meter? Puts another game on that list. Which version is it? You can't get anything started. This team's one game above 500 after this series over the weekend. They're 39-38. The reason why they're hovering around 500 is they can never get anything going. Because when they start to get things going, that's where the bullpen kind of reminds all of us very quickly that they exist and that they give up leads. And they're not a group that we can believe in. But if we do believe in that group, if that group does find themselves over the next couple of weeks, and again, how long have we said this on the show? We're not asking them to carry the weight for the rest of the season. We're asking them to carry the weight until July 31st. We're asking them to carry the weight for right now a little over a month, 5 weeks. Get this team to the deadline to where then Mike Hazen can add the reinforcements. And so if you get that group, you can go on a run. You can win 6 in a row in your next 6 games against the White Sox and the Marlins. You can believe that this team is going to be able to weather A.J. Puck not coming back. They're going to be able to weather Corbin Burns not coming back. Justin Martinez not coming back. Because guys are stepping up and filling those holes, filling those voids, and doing so consistently enough. Everything changes if you have a bullpen you believe in. Everything. Everything about your season, everything about the team, everything about their outlook, buyers, sellers at the deadline, the noise that they can make in the NL wildcard picture, all of it changes if there's a bullpen that Torey Lovullo can roll up to the ballpark and know where he's going to go and have trust that those guys are going to get the outs that he needs. It changes everything.
Imagine if they could go on a run, take 5 of their next 6 in these 2 series, have a bullpen that becomes more stable.
Stable. That's the right word. That's a good word.
And then in July, you get to a point where we can add reinforcements. And not only are you looking at a bullpen that, hey, is settled down and kind of found their groove a little, but is now adding reinforcements. And maybe you get one of the bigger name closers, right? And so you start to feel confident in the 8th, in the 9th inning. You can take Shelby Miller out of what has been some of the higher leverage spots that he's had to deal with this year. Maybe throw him in the 7th, 8th inning. You only add length to the bullpen. You just need to get there.
Brian used the word in the last segment when we took his call that he wanted a roadmap for Bradley Beal. I'm going to use that word. Here's the roadmap. Saturday's game is the roadmap. Merrill Kelly gave you 6 innings of 3 runs, 2 of them earned. Quality start. You then went to Ryan Thompson, who had a scoreless inning with a strikeout. You then had Jalen Beeks give you a scoreless inning. And then you had Shelby Miller give you a scoreless inning, striking out all 3 batters he faced. There it is. There's the roadmap. 6 innings from your starter and 3 relievers being stable, confident, trustworthy enough to throw up zeros. That's it. That's the roadmap. You've now proven that you can do it. Ryan Thompson, Jalen Beeks, Shelby Miller, they showed you that on the road, in Coors, with a 2-run lead, they could hold that lead. If you can hold a 2-run lead in Coors Field, you can hold a 2-run lead anywhere. If you can hold the Colorado Rockies to 3 runs and win a game in Colorado 5-3 and get that type of bullpen output, you can do that against any team. You can do that against any team in any spot. Home, road, playing it on the moon, wherever you're playing the game, your bullpen can get the job done.
Tonight, they have Eduardo Rodriguez taking the mound. You might need more length out of your bullpen. Stay confident. Stay confident. Understand what you did in Colorado. Your hope is they look back at a series like that and go, we got this. We've started to figure it out a little.
It is a very important series with a team that is 25-53. I know you're on the road. I know you're in Chicago. This is an early start. It's a 4:40 start, producer Evan. You're starting to come around on the early 4 o'clock starts. You're getting a 4:40 start today.
4:40, I don't mind.
Over by dinner time.
Over by dinner time. The other team I watch every day isn't playing today.
So you're just
I'm just only got D-backs
So
today.
there you go. Not that you care about this, Diamondbacks, but you've got producer Evan's attention the whole time. He's not bouncing back and forth between two screens.
No computer and the screen.
He's going to be ready. He's going to be taking notes. He's going to be ready to whatever you do. He's going to be ready for the daily special tomorrow when we break it all down. Speaking of the Diamondbacks, you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks against the Kansas City Royals on Friday, July 4th at Chase Field. Celebrate the red, white, and blue at Chase Field. Don't miss a fireworks spectacular following the July 3rd and July 4th games presented by Bar S. You can get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT, or we've got your chance to win 4 tickets to that game on Friday, July 4th for listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app. So make sure you download that today. The leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to, I'm assuming that's where we'll touch on the Game 7 in the NBA last night. We'll do it all next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince DeLisio from the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in Saturday morning as we head out to East Mesa and introduce you to the Skyline Coyote football family. We are taking our show on the road and we want you to join us. Plus, we continue to check in on vacationing ADs, and we'll be joined this week by Yonker Athletic Director Jackie Garcia. Start your weekend off with a smile with the Varsity Sports Show Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
A blown call at the plate?
Safe.
Frustrating. Spilling your nachos in the stands?
Ah, man.
Disappointing. Finding a scorpion in your home?
Honey, I need a little help in here.
Unnecessary. Nate here, owner of Blue Sky Pest Control, the official service provider of the Arizona Diamondbacks and Chase Field. While we can't do anything about the nachos, we can definitely take care of the scorpions. Call 602 Blue Sky today and get big league pest protection for your home. Hello, Blue Sky. Goodbye, pests.
Pool season is coming in hot. Before you make a splash, assign a water watcher to help keep kids safe. A water watcher is a capable adult who knows how to swim and perform CPR in case of emergency. Make sure they put away any distractions and actively monitor everyone in the group while around water. After everyone is done swimming, water watchers should scan the bottom of the pool and close and lock the pool gate behind them. Ready for more water safety tips? Visit srp.net/pool.
This is Desert Diamond Casino, where the tables are hot to the touch and there are jackpot-winning smiles all around. The spot with Arizona's only hometown sportsbook, slots spinning winners every day, and an atmosphere sparkling with excitement. So get your shine on, light up the room, show us what it's all about. It's time to live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Bet with your head, not over it. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back to wrap up today's edition of the show. You just knew a show like this, it would be 12:45. It would be the leftovers before we knew it, with all the different things, layers to unpack with the Kevin Durant trade, and we are going to continue to do that over the coming days. We had some stuff here on today's show that we didn't even get to, that we kept away for the rest of the week. So we will get into that in tomorrow and Wednesday's show. And again, a reminder, no shows Thursday and Friday this week. We are off. A little vacation. Friends get married out in California, so I'm driving out there after the show on Wednesday. The leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program, they are brought to us by the producer of the show, producer Evan. Take it away, my friend.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Thunder win it all. It's kind of a sad storyline early in this game after Tyrese Haliburton tore his Achilles.
I mean, it is the storyline out of this game. It just is, right? I mean, I know the Thunder won the championship and everyone is excited they're in Oklahoma City, the first championship, and we had the question by Russell about a dynasty. I get it. The excitement should be there. But rightfully so, the storyline coming out of this game is Tyrese Haliburton, who gutted through a strained calf to play in this game. This is why you take it easy on strained calves, because this is a potential outcome of a calf strain. He popped his Achilles, and you could tell right away. You watch the replay, and I'll be honest, I was paying attention to Sunday Night Baseball. Producer Evan and I were in a little bit of a battle over the weekend. And I saw the clip circulating on social media. So I went and watched it, and you just knew immediately. You just could see it on the instant replay. It popped, and you could see it in his expression, his emotion, that he knew what had happened, that he knew that was it. He was gutting it out, trying to will his team after he willed them in Game 6 to force a Game 7, that he was willing them to a championship. And oh, by the way, at halftime, even after the injury, they were winning the game.
They were winning the game, and he was 3 of 4 from 3 when he went down.
He got started hot. He was going to will them to a championship.
It was so interesting to watch, because Indiana, I mean, they got punched in the face and they punched back right after. And like you said, they had the lead at half, and then they came out in the third quarter, and TJ McConnell with one of the most polarizing Game 7 performances I've ever seen, because I swear, it felt like he scored every point for the Pacers in the third quarter, but also had 6 turnovers in the quarter.
Yeah, when you have a huge emotional moment like that, because the players knew what happened to Tyrese Haliburton, and they try to rally, and the initial emotion, the initial adrenaline of wanting to do it for Tyrese, you could tell it took over, and they were in the game, and they weren't going to let it affect them, and they were battling, they were fighting, they were going to stay in that game. And just over the course of the game, you just realize that without Haliburton, it's just a different team. They couldn't on the fly adapt enough to create a consistent enough offense, a consistent enough approach to keep them in the game. And then the Thunder they ran away with it, and it was over well into the latter stages of the third quarter and into the early parts of the fourth quarter. You knew the game was over.
Yeah, at that point, once, my roommates and I were sitting there like, okay, if they can keep it to 10 here, and once you start playing that game, the writing's on the wall a little. I do think Sam Presti has done just one of the best jobs building a roster I have ever seen. And this is the second time he's done it. They broke up the Durant, Westbrook, Harden core that he drafted all 3. But, I mean, now he's built a roster that is just as good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the reason why people think it can be a dynasty is because they still have a bunch of picks. They still have a bunch of assets. All of these players are young. So you just see ways for them to be able to maneuver and pivot and change their roster on the fly and be able to adapt to the contracts that are going to need to be paid out, that they're going to have the flexibility and the wiggle room to be able to, maybe it'll look a little different the next time around, but they'll be able to put together a competitive roster. So you tip your cap. I mean, they just took a very slow and steady approach. They didn't try to accelerate and speed run it. And Presti talked about that they took a very slow approach to this, and it panned out very well.
Speaking of how young they are, did you see that the players in their celebration in the locker room didn't know how to open champagne bottles?
Yeah, I don't know. Should that make me feel old?
I don't know. But the funniest part of all of it was that Alex Caruso did a demonstration for all of them.
Well, I mean, he's the elder statesman, right?
Yes.
He is the guy that is supposed
He's not that old.
No, but he's the elder statesman. He's the veteran. He should know, right? Yeah. I'd expect him to show the young Oklahoma City Thunder how to do that. He would be the guy I would pick. You put the whole roster together, that's the guy that I would be like, you know what? Alex Caruso could get this done for this team. Yeah, no, that is not surprising at all. It's exactly how that's supposed to go.
I thought it was very funny.
That is exactly how that is supposed to go. But yes, congrats to the Thunder, who are very early on the favorites to repeat as champions.
A lot of NBA talk moving into baseball. Some interesting storylines over the weekend. We'll start with Rafael Devers, who hit his first home run as a Giant against the Boston Red Sox, who he has a little familiarity with.
You knew the moment they traded him and that the two teams were meeting like within a week. You just knew exactly how that was going to go. You just knew it. You can't script that any better. So, of course, he was going to hit the first home run against as a Giant against the Red Sox. Lock of the century. And then he does the post-game interview, which he never did.
I was going to say, that's the extra punch in the face, is that he stood out there for the post-game interview, which he never did in Boston.
No, because he didn't want to. And I don't know if his team or he himself decided to change his tune this time around and realized that part of the mess in Boston was somewhat self-inflicted. He did kind of create some of the mess. And he's going to try to turn a new leaf and do things the right way, or if he's just trying to win the early PR battle here. But either way, it's working. Either way, it's the perfect outcome for Rafael Devers.
No, people in San Francisco love him already.
Oh, he said, I'll do whatever. I'll play wherever. He hits the home run against Boston. He does the post-game interview. I mean, it's great.
Speaking of home runs, Cal Raleigh adds 2 more this weekend.
My AL MVP, Cal Raleigh.
So he's now at 31.
He's going to hit 40 home runs by the All-Star break.
Which now broke the most home runs by a catcher before the All-Star break. There's a month till the All-Star break. And did you see his post-game interview?
I did not.
He threw a jab at Aaron Judge.
Did he really?
Quote, 31 homers hits different when you're doing it at T-Mobile Park. It's not the Bronx. I'm impacting the game on both sides. And yeah, I think I deserve MVP talk.
You know what? I've just got the perfect thing for this. I've got the perfect thing for this.
Both feet on the ground. Stand by what I said.
My MVP in the American League, Kyle Raleigh. Are you kidding me with that quote? That's not real.
That's real.
That is a real quote that he said after the game.
Posted by Talkin' Baseball.
He actually said that. If he actually said that, if that's an actual quote and you didn't get aggregated by somebody.
I'm telling you, that was John Boy Media posted that.
Are you sure? Because there is a fake John Boy Media account that gets people.
Really?
No, this is the real Talking. No. You got. See, this is what happens. You got by the fake Talking Baseball account.
Oh.
See? But you see how quick I was ready to go there with you? I was ready to fight for Kyle Raleigh. I was ready to fight for him to be the MVP. But no, because if you look at the Twitter handle, this is a nice little social media lesson for you. Baseball is not spelled correctly at the end of the Twitter handle.
Yep.
You got because you saw the blue check mark.
Yeah.
Can't.
It's that's how they get you these days.
The blue check mark doesn't mean anything anymore. So now you've had to. So hold on. This is now the third apology you're going to have to issue on the show here today. You apologized in hour number 1 to Matt Ishbia. You apologized earlier in hour number 1 to Jordan Lawler, and now you owe Aaron Judge an apology.
Do I owe Aaron Judge an apology or Cal Raleigh an apology?
I think both. I think it's a double apology. And to the fan base, I think it's a triple apology. You owe our listeners an apology. You owe Cal Raleigh an apology.
I can't believe I fell for that. I was so excited to read that quote for the last 20 minutes.
Well, it's a great quote, right? Then that's where they get you. It was a great quote, and you fell for it. Now, I kind of hope he said it. That would have been great if he said it.
I apologize to everyone that affected.
Cal Raleigh, just to put some context to it. He's the first switch hitter ever with 30-plus home runs before the All-Star break. He's the fastest to 30 home runs. He's done it in 75 games since Barry Bonds and Luis Gonzalez in 2001. And he joins Ken Griffey Jr. as the only Mariners player to hit 30-plus home runs before the All-Star break. His OPS since the end of May is second in all of baseball, behind only Ronald Acuna Jr. Yeah. Now, that's real. That is not fake. That is not, all those numbers are real. That's from the official MLB Twitter account, and they have the gold check mark, so I know that it's true.
What's the gold check?
So a verified media organization can apply for and get the gold check mark so that you know that they are a established media institution.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
If the gold check mark.
That's what I'm looking for from now on.
Yeah. You got to, everything's got to be filtered through. Is it the gold check mark or is it a blue check mark means nothing to you anymore after today?
LSU, by the way, also won the College World Series yesterday.
What an ump show that was.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me with what happened in the first inning of that game?
Really
Everybody involved should be disgraced that a coach got thrown out in the first inning of a game. Disgraced.
In an elimination
game. Jim Rome's coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do, mistakes and all. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.